What's up everyone, hope you've all been well. I know it's been a little while since we've last had a video on here, but I've got some content ready for you guys that hopefully you could find useful. In today's video we're going to be talking about 10 bad money habits that may be holding you back financially and maybe stopping you from reaching your financial goals. Make sure to like, subscribe and stay to the end of the video so that you don't miss anything important. The thing with having bad money habits is that some people don't even acknowledge the fact that they have them in the first place, and it really can actually be the difference between you becoming financially stable and responsible or you actually messing up your finances and getting into a financial pitfall. So that's why it really is important, guys, that you make sure that you identify and acknowledge any bad money habits that you may have as soon as possible from the start of your financial journey. So the first point we're going to be talking about is having disorganized finances. So what does having disorganized finances mean? Having disorganized finances can be defined as someone who doesn't know their regular ingoings and outgoings per month, or someone who doesn't budget and consider their monthly costs when spending their money. This can lead to a lot of problems, such as someone spending money on things they can't afford and don't need. It's like the saying, failing to plan is actually planning to fail. If you're someone who's trying to save up or build some sort of capital to invest or start a business, it's important that you organize your finances, guys, to ensure the best possible chances of achieving this. If you can calculate what your total monthly bills and expenses are, you can then deduct this from your total disposable income, and then with the remaining money you can set some aside to save and invest, and also a small amount to spend on things that you may want. It's important to make sure there's less money going out than coming in so that you can also cover all your monthly bills. To do this, you need to make sure that you're living well within your means and being financially responsible. For this, you can use the 50-40-10 rule. 50% on your needs, for example housing, foods and transport, 40% on savings and investment, for example an emergency fund, a savings account and stocks and bonds, etc. and 10% on your wants, for example vacations, dining out and clothes. You don't have to stick to the 50-40-10 rule. If you want, you can slightly adjust it to what's suitable for you. Getting too comfortable with debt. This one here is very problematic, because if you do become too comfortable with debt and are like those people that are living like life is paid in full, you will, and I mean you will, eventually suffer the consequences of this. So it's important to break out of this bad habit as soon as possible. Signs of somebody getting too comfortable with debt is when they're maxing out their credit card and not paying it back. Remember, credit is money you have to pay back. It's borrowed money, not your money. Same goes for store credit accounts and loans and any other types of debt that someone may have. Especially when the interest is added up and piling up, it will be more and more difficult for you to pay this off. So please, guys, important, make sure you pay off all your debt as soon as possible. If you do need to take out loans or credit cards, make sure to pay off the full balance before end of the month on the card, or try to get a loan from friends or family to avoid paying any type of interest. Otherwise, this debt will end up ruining your monthly cash flow, since you'll be spending most of your income trying to pay back the debt that you owe, and this will stop you from saving money that you could use to invest and save or put into your business, for example. So whatever you do, try your best to stay clear of debt, as it can lead to a massive pitfall that will be hard to get out of. Trying to keep up appearances. In the world of social media and the internet, where everyone wants instant gratification and want what they want there and then, instead of patiently waiting whilst working hard, it's not a surprise that many people struggle with this point. If you're always trying to keep up with everyone, whether it's by buying the latest car, clothes or iPhone, you'll find yourself having a difficult time making wise financial choices. Therefore, it's important to delay your gratification and not be tempted into spending money that you don't even have. Don't be in competition with other people unless it benefits you in a positive way. You don't need to be spending your money on fancy vacations, restaurants and clothes like everybody else. Save and invest your money and work hard for a few years, and it can completely turn your life around. Work hard on actually being rich and wealthy instead of only trying to look like it. Waiting too long to start investing. Saving your money is good and all, but at the end of the day you're losing your buying power to inflation by just leaving it in the bank. What £100 could have bought you back 10 years ago, it can't buy you now, and this is due to inflation. So if you do have money, it's important to invest it and make it work for you, and in the long run, from 10 to 20 years, this can make you a lot of money back through compound interest. The earlier you start to invest, the more you can make in the future. There are plenty of stocks such as the S&P 500 which have continually proved to make people money at a 5 to 15% interest rate on a yearly basis for many years in the past. By using this compound interest rate calculator, you can see that if someone was to invest 10 grand a year for the first 10 years at a base 10% yearly interest rate, they would make £80,091.28. This is not too bad. However, if you do look at what would happen to the amount of profit made for another 10 years, you can see here that they'd make £467,605.85 profit on top of their initial investment. That's almost 6 times the amount made in the first year, and this is an example of the power of compound interest. So you see, this is why it's important to save your money and invest it so that you can be set up for the future, instead of using it on things that will serve you no purpose in the future when you one day may need it. If you guys do want a video on different types of well-known, established and reliable stocks to invest in and how to invest in them, then please leave a comment below. Spending money on things that you want and don't actually need. This one a lot of us may have been guilty of at one point or another. Most of the time we spend money on things that we don't necessarily need. With it being so easy nowadays to go online and spend money on all the different available websites, you can end up spending a lot of money without even realizing it. With online shopping, it's even easier to spend money on impulse and regret it after, and that's why it's important to have self-discipline and give it a few days to think over it before making a big purchase. Buying unnecessary items when you're bored or just for your entertainment can end up costing you a lot of money in the long run. There's no reason to go out every weekend if you know your pockets aren't deep enough yet, and to be spending money on takeaways and expensive restaurants eating unhealthy food. It won't happen overnight, but it's important to practice delayed gratification and have more self-control when making financial decisions. Don't be that guy who spends all his money on nonsense and then doesn't have enough money at the end of the month to cover all the bills and lives a paycheck to paycheck lifestyle, having only one source of income. This is a very important one, especially using the COVID-19 pandemic as an example. Many people had lost their jobs and didn't have any other ways to finance their costs and lifestyles due to this. It's important to have an abundance mindset and understand that you can have more than just one source of income and earn more than you currently are. This way, if anything does happen, you have more than one source of income to fall back on. You could try something like a side hustle along with your 9 to 5, or start earning royalties and passive income through investing in stocks, bonds and properties, etc. This will give you and your family a lot more financial security and stability and will provide a good foundation if you do counter any rocky periods, which people usually do at some point in their lives. Thinking short term instead of long term. If you only think short term, you will be only spending money in the present without thinking about the consequences of spending recklessly in the future. If you keep funding the lifestyle you want now through your current income without considering how you want your lifestyle to be in the future, the chances of you getting to that position will be less likely. If you want to buy a house, invest into a business, your future children's ISA account, or build some sort of savings, then it's important you think long term and figure out a plan to make and put aside the money for this. If you want bigger things like multiple properties, multiple streams of income, businesses to cover the cost of having a family and to cover the future expenses for this, then buying cars, designer clothing and going out all the time for a few years straight when you're meant to be building your wealth and foundation won't help the situation. So keep this in mind next time you're spending money on things you deep down know that you don't need. 6-month emergency fund. I can't stress how important this one is. Statistics show that most people living in the UK can't cover an unexpected emergency expense of £1,000, which goes to show how many people are living a paycheck to paycheck lifestyle. It's important to have at least 6 months worth of expenses covered to ensure that your bills are paid for in case you lose your job or if you are involved in any other type of emergency. For example, if you suffer a bad situation that affects your mental health, which leads you to wanting to take some time off of work for a while. Whatever the case may be, having 6 months of emergency funds will give you enough time to get everything back together and get back on your feet without having to worry about how you're going to pay for your bills, which will cause you more financial stress in the long run, and without having to dip into your savings. Not having an abundance mindset. This one is also a very important type of mindset you will need to develop in order to become financially successful. You need to believe that you have the capacity to earn more. There's only so much cutting out on costs and expenses will do, and you can only save so much from doing so. Eventually you will need to look at more ways to earn more money instead of on how much you can save by cutting out costs. Cutting costs and saving through this is limited. However, the amount of money you can make is unlimited, and therefore you need to be open-minded to new creative ways to make money, and using the internet as a tool for research and help is a great way to do this. Lifestyle inflation. Lifestyle inflation can be described as when someone increases the expenses needed in order to fund their lifestyle after being put in a position where they've got access to more funds. For example, they found a new job or got a promotion, or their business is starting to pull in more money. If every single time you get hold of more money you inflate your lifestyle and start living more lavishly, you won't be able to save or invest, since all the extra money you're getting is being spent on all the wrong things. For example, if you got a promotion, don't end up going and buying a new car or going on vacations or spending money on going out all the time. Instead, live very well within your means, as this is what will help you build your wealth and save the money you've got. Spend a little for yourself and invest the rest. Well, that's it for this one, guys. If you did enjoy the video, please drop a like, subscribe and comment below on which point you found the most helpful and interesting. Make sure you also turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss out on when the next video drops. Until next time, peace.